Legolas Greenleaf, Prince of the Woodland Realm, is one of the many loved characters in Tolkien's works, and in today's video we'll be looking at his family tree and history. His birth date isn't confirmed, but would be either around the very late Second Age or early Third Age. We'll look at Legolas, his father, grandfather, and so on. But first we're going to start with Legolas. I'm sure many of you know a lot about him already, so we're going to cover him briefly. He was a Sindarian elf and was the Prince of Mirkwood. He was also messenger and master archer with keen eyesight, sensitive hearing, and excellent bowmanship. He was mainly in Tolkien's works during the events in the War of the Ring and the Lord of the Rings. He departed from Middle-earth to Aman in the year 120 of the Fourth Age from Ithilien. He is greatly remembered for his friendship with Gimli the dwarf. Now let's move on to Legolas's father, Thranduil. Thranduil, Elven King, King of the Woodland Realm, was born around or before the year 506 of the First Age. In the First Age, he lived in Doriath prior to the Second Kinslaying. At the beginning of the Second Age, the Sindar travelled east and Thranduil's father eventually founded Greenwood the Great. In 3434 of the Second Age, Thranduil and his father fought in the Battle of Dagorlad, and Thranduil's father was slain, and Thranduil had to return home to Greenwood with roughly a third of the army that he had marched to war with. Due to the death of his father, he claimed his inheritance and right to rule, and from the year 3434 of the Second Age took his father's title as King of the Woodland Realm. He reigned over south of Greenwood the Great. Into the Third Age, Thranduil's kingdom encompassed all of Greenwood the Great and was now known as the Woodland Realm. However, through the Third Age, the shadow of the Necromancer and the once flourishing Greenwood became dark, and then that gave the new name of Mirkwood. By the time of the events of the Lord of the Rings, Thranduil's title was King of the Elves of Northern Mirkwood. During the quest of Erebor, Thorin Oakenshield and his company entered northern Mirkwood, and Thranduil captured them. Thranduil accused Thorin and his party of wandering in his kingdom without leave, interrupting their feast, and stirring up trouble with spiders, and they were all locked up in dungeons. Then after the death of Smaug the Great, Thranduil along with Bard claimed a share of the treasure the door was recovered from the Lonely Mountain. In the Battle of the Five Armies, Thranduil led the elven forces, and his army was positioned on the southern side of the mountain and was first to charge. After the war, Thranduil took Orcrist and laid it upon Thorin's tomb and received the Emeralds of Girion. During the events of the War of the Ring, Thranduil sent his son Legolas to the Council of Elrond to inform everyone of the news of Gollum's escape from capture. During the War of the Ring, the forces of Dol Guldur attacked Mirkwood, but Thranduil fought off the attack and was victorious. He later came into agreement with Celeborn that the southern part of Mirkwood would now be counted at East Lothian. Thranduil renamed Mirkwood Erin Lasgelen, the Wood of Green Leaves. Into the Fourth Age, Thranduil fixed the southern boundary of his realm as the mountains of Mirkwood, and his realm flourished. He either stayed as the king of the Great Forest or departed Middle-earth to the Undying Lands. Finally, Thranduil's father and Legolas's grandfather, which has been mentioned multiple times, was Oropher, Lord of Northern Mirkwood, King of the Sylvan Elves, and King of the Woodland Realm. He was born at some point during the First Age and was one of the Sindar of Doriath. After the War of Wrath, he declined to leave Middle-earth and instead chose to stay and went over the Blue Mountains with his household. Eventually, he ended up at Greenwood the Great, and he was taken up by his people as the Lord. His capital was Amon Lank. To the rest of Orpheus' realm was Lordaeland, also known as Lothlorien, where Almdir, another Sindar, ruled over Sylvan Elves. However, after the events of the downfall of Numenor, and when Sauron returned to Middle-earth and gained more power, Oropher and his people retreated north of the Dwarf Road, and then again later retreated north of the mountains of Mirkwood, where they fortified themselves. Before the war of the Last Alliance, Oropher and his kin left their capital of Amon-Lanc and went to live in Lordaeronde. Then for another 3 times he moved his people north towards Emindir, the mountains of Mirkwood. This retreat northwards was because of the desire to move away from the dwarves of Khazad-dûm. Oropher then answered the summons for the last alliance of elves and men by he marched as an independent army with Armdir. However, Oropher's army was lightly armed. In the Battle of Dagorlad, Oropher and his company fought valiantly, but he was slain along with a lot of his company. Thranduil, Oropher's son and heir, returned to Erin Galen with the dwindled army and took kingship of the Woodland Realm. That is the story of Legolas and his family in Tolkien's works. There is no clear bloodline from Oropher, so we'll have to leave it at him. And this is also quite an interesting topic, as you might see Thranduil and potentially Oropher in the upcoming Amazon Lord of the Rings TV series as well. But thank you guys for watching, I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe until the next video, my friends. Goodbye.